Hello, and welcome to the Art of Living Well podcast. I'm Stephanie May Potter, and I'm here with my co-host, Marnie Marmette.
We created the Art of Living Well podcast to empower you to live your happiest, healthiest, and most authentic life. Each week, we will bring you inspiring and motivating conversations covering health and wellness topics, including fitness, mindset, food, travel, product reviews, and strategies from a variety of experts, including our own bank of knowledge.
We are excited to educate, motivate, and inspire you to change the way you perceive health and discover your art of living well. Get ready to feel inspired.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Beekeepers Naturals, the company on a mission to reinvent your medicine cabinet by creating clean and natural remedies that actually work.
I started using Beekeepers Naturals a couple years ago after hearing about them on a podcast. And I just loved how effective they worked. They're clean, non-toxic, and natural ingredients. The company's obsessive research and their pesticide testing, as well as their mission to support the pollinators.
I just started using their propolis spray, and I absolutely love it. The throat spray is really your daily dose of defense when it comes to naturally supporting your immune system and soothing a scratchy throat. With just 3 simple ingredients, this spray is powered by sustainably sourced bee propolis, an incredible germ fighter that contains over 300 beneficial compounds. It's exactly what your body needs during cold and flu season. And I just love this spray. I use it every morning. It's super easy to use. I just spray it like right in my mouth and off I go. And it tastes good. And I love how they do all this research and testing, and their remedies are so clean and effective.
Another product we love is the Bee Chill Honey. We all get stressed out, right? But a dose of the Bee Chill can help take the edge off. It's great at bedtime. You can put a spoonful of it in your tea to help you toss and turn less.
I've actually been doing that most nights. I've been putting a little scoop in my tea and mixing it up, and it tastes so good and it's so calming. And I love having that at the end of the night to just kind of relax me before I go to bed.
And a couple other of their honey products are so great. You can buy the Bee Chill in travel size sticks. And so I recently went on a trip and brought it with me. I used it in my tea. I use it in my plain yogurt. And I just have to add that their superfood cacao honey is delicious. I make these chocolate protein balls with it, and they're so good. I actually just made them last night. Now that we're going into winter, it's a great time to upgrade your medicine cabinet and stock it with immune-supporting products. To save 15% off on your first order, go to beekeepersnaturals.com/artoflivingwell. That's beekeepersnaturals.com/ARTOFLIVINGWELL to save 15% off. Simply enter the code Art of Living Well at checkout and shop now for 15% off our favorite immune-supporting products that your whole family will love. Hi, before we jump right into today's conversation, we wanted to share a couple of important updates. We are starting our own Art of Living Well book club, and we would love for you to join us in reading the last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read by Andre Kap, who was on episode number 45 of our podcast, and we'll be hosting a discussion on the book on November 12th at 11:30 Central Time, and you can click the link in the show notes to sign up for this free event. And then the next update is an exciting program that we just developed. It's a 30-day Thrive During the Holiday Season program, and it's going to run from November 16th to December 13th. And it's going to be all about staying festive, fun, and feeling fabulous during this holiday season, which I know is going to look and feel very different than it has in years past. But it'll be a private community where you will receive mindset tips, recipes, weekly lives, and so much more with a group of other like-minded people. And we would absolutely love to have you join us. And you can head on over to the link in the show notes and, of course, message us or reach out with any questions. And then finally, we would love for you to rate and review this podcast. If you are enjoying these episodes, please head over to Apple Podcast and give the Art of Living Well podcast a rating and review. Doing so really helps our podcast get found in searches so that more people can benefit from the information and all of the interviews that we share. And of course, if you're enjoying an episode, please feel free to share it with anyone you think may benefit from the information and tag us on social media. And now let's jump right into today's conversation. Hello, and welcome to episode 52. Today, Marnie and I are coming on to share our top 10 ways to feel more grounded and happy during these uncertain times. And we've been hearing from each other and a lot of you guys that with the pandemic and the election, that everyone's feeling a little anxious. And so we want to share what we've been doing to try to stay more grounded and just have a conversation with you guys today.
So the first thing that we want to talk about is taking media breaks. And that kind of, we're referring to all media. That's TV, social media, computer time, and just really stepping back from the news, Facebook, all of the stuff that you're being bombarded with on a daily basis. And I know a lot of us can get into that cycle where we want more and more and more because we're so anxious about what's going to happen. And it's not good for anyone, right, Stephanie? It's stressful. And it actually, I even notice in myself when I'm reading the news and I'm reading about the virus, and it's like my heart starts beating faster and I kind of tense up all my muscles, and it's just not good for me.
Well, and it's keeping us in that sympathetic nervous system state, that fight or flight. And when we're under so much stress, it just wreaks havoc all around. And we won't get into all that today, but I do think having the news on 24/7, which, we've been doing a little bit lately, and just hearing all that, it's not good. And it doesn't allow me to even be able to focus on what I need to do. It's very distracting.
And we're not getting a whole lot of answers anyway, whether it's the election or the virus or kind of whatever's going on in the world. There's no really immediate gratification that we're going to get from the news right now, right? So
if we just take some breaks
yes.
And maybe just tell yourself, okay, when I wake up, I'm going to allow myself 15, 20 minutes to, however you want to get it, on your phone or on the TV, and get your update, get your fix that you need, and then go 3 or 4 hours without anything. And then maybe allow yourself over lunch, take another quick break, just so that you feel rest assured that you know what's going on in the world and that you have a little bit of an update, and then put it away again. Use the airplane mode, whatever you have to do to get out of the habit of being connected to a device 24/7. The next tip that we want to share is just feel good entertainment, right? So we know people like to, watch TV and, use their phones and that sort of thing. But instead of focusing on the news and the media and all the things that are, somewhat dividing people up, just turn on a TV show. And maybe Marnie and I should share just a couple of the shows that we've been listening to that aren't serious and aren't going to bring you down, but just make you laugh, because honestly, laughter is really the best medicine, like they say.
Or even just lighthearted and fun. Like Stephanie and I were just talking about Emily in Paris. So I watched that with my daughter. I think in 2 days we went through everything because it was just so fun and light. It reminded me of Sex and the City, and it just kind of, being in Paris, it was like you felt like you were in Paris with her, and just looking at the outfits, and the whole thing was just fun.
Yes. And I've been watching it too. I've watched I think 6 of the episodes, and it is fun, and it takes you to another place. It gets you out of your current reality, which is probably, a little more stressful, a little more anxious. And you just pretend that you're in Paris, walking around eating a pain au chocolat and, having a wine at a cute little French restaurant outside.
Absolutely. And, TV shows, books, movies, podcasts, right? Like any of those types of media can kind of do that for you. I heard Jesse Lasso was really light and good. I haven't watched it yet, but it's on my list to watch.
Yeah. And I started a book on Audible. I had a little bit of a road trip last weekend, and I started The Great Alone for my book club. And it takes place in Alaska, most of the book. And it's fascinating. I haven't been to Alaska, but all of a sudden you're just transformed to Alaska and just how beautiful it is, but how remote it is. And so for me, it's very freeing. So that's
I'm excited
great
to
book.
listen to that book as well.
Yes.
So moving on, another way that we feel is super helpful to stay grounded right now and in life in general is through breathing and meditation. And really, I know people get scared off by the word meditation, but it can be very simple. It can be, taking 10 deep breaths even. And when we talk about grounding, we're really talking about, planting our feet on the ground or on the floor or the earth, whatever you want to call it, and just like relaxing all those muscles in your feet and standing up nice and tall, or you can be sitting in a chair and just really feel your feet grounded to the earth. And you can just take some deep breaths like that. And, taking those deep breaths really does calm your whole system down.
Absolutely. And one really quick, easy one that I love to do, it's called the 4-7-8 breath. And if you just Google Dr. Andrew Weil, 4-7-8 breath, you'll get some videos of him doing it. And you just inhale for 4 breaths, you hold it for 7 and you exhale for 8. And you can do it even in like 3, 6, 7, as long as the exhale is greater than the inhale. But I will do that all the time. And you can do it in your car. So you don't need to even meditate and close your eyes and take, a half hour to do some formal meditation. As Marnie said, it's just simply taking really deep belly breaths to activate that rest and recovery state.
And we actually have a number of guests that have been on our podcast that have had some great episodes on these topics. Betsy Weiner, episode 3, and she also did a bonus episode for us. We have Michelle Olson, Jess Rosenberg, episode 51, just last week. And she actually mentions an app called Insight Timer that has some great meditations and breath work types of things on there.
And I think even just listening to those 3 episodes, and they all happen to be yoga instructors and they're really into, meditation and breath work, but just listening to them, it's very calming. Just even listening to the episode. And in that bonus episode that Betsy did, I think it was in late spring, we do like a 5-minute meditation in there. So highly recommend that you guys, if you haven't already, that you go back and listen to those episodes. And then the next way that to just, again, feel more grounded and happy is surrounding yourself with people who bring you good energy and who lift you up. And I think that's so important right now because we're not probably seeing as many people. And we need more human interaction and connection, but making sure that those people that you do choose to see are ones that are going to provide more energy and not take it away from you.
And it's really so important. Like we need that human interaction, and we need that, social time, if you will. And like Stephanie said, we're in a pandemic, so it's hard to get that. So whether it's outdoors or however you can do it in a safe way, you want it to be safe for you mentally as well. So, maybe you're not hanging around that friend that's always dragging you down right now. and re-looking at that in general, that's for another day. But like just finding people that you can find joy with and laugh with and maybe sometimes cry with, but in general, keeping it light, keeping it fun.
And I think just making sure that you are connecting with people. So maybe there isn't anyone in your life that's draining your energy, but are you connecting with enough people? And if you're not comfortable seeing them in person, maybe it's going back to the Zooms that we did early on when we were in stay at home. And that's a reality we may need to do, or picking up the phone and talking to someone.
Just kind of adding on to that, thinking about our next thing, getting outside in nature, moving your body, being outside for me is so incredibly healing. Like whenever I'm feeling anxious, I just need to step outside and take a deep breath in the fresh air, and I feel so much better. Then maybe you layer on adding a friend into the mix where you're taking a walk with a friend and you're talking. And I mean, so helpful for me emotionally and physically. I mean, just full body healing.
I think it's like the best free therapy that you can get. I mean, it is free, people, right? And it's like being in nature. Marnie and I talk about these things all the time. But just text, call a friend, a neighbor, and get outside and take a walk. It is, you will feel 100 times better.
Or a run or a bike or, you know, whatever it is.
Whatever. Maybe it's snowshoeing soon. I don't know, but like.
or maybe you're sitting on your driveway in, you know, chairs, just talking. Or the other day, yesterday actually, I was out on a walk with my daughter and we walked by this house and there was 4 older people sitting at a table. You know, they were masked up and they were playing cards. And I was like, oh, I love this. They're sitting outside, they're playing cards. Yeah. So, you know, whatever you need to do.
Absolutely. But get outside and ideally do some sort of movement every day. I think that really helps too. And then just schedule self-care. And it could be some of these things that we've already talked about. And I think self-care, you know, sometimes can get a bad rap and, but self-care is not selfish. Self-care is self-love, and you need to love yourself and feel good and be at peace and joyful in order to be the best person for your family and your friends and your community and the world, really. And so putting that in your calendar, you know, most of us have phones that have calendars in them, and just schedule it, schedule a reminder, use the timer on your phone to remind yourself. It could be as simple as a walk or
whatever you need to take care of yourself. It could be a number of different things, right? Yes. Like self-care at the end of the day is really taking care of you, whatever that means.
Yeah. And it could be watching a show.
Self-care does not necessarily mean going to the spa. Like, you know, where Stephanie said it has a bad rap. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what you need to take care of yourself so you can be the best you can be.
And listen to your body when you know you have been neglecting yourself and not doing self-care, and talking to your family. I know there's a lot of parents that listen to the show, and it can be tough right now with kids at home and schooling, and maybe you feel like you don't have the time. You know, a lot of us that maybe used to spend time at home by ourselves are now finding like a house full of people, and that can be stressful. But just talking to your spouse, talking to your kids, whomever, about what you need, and put it in the calendar.
And then, you know, adding on to self-care, thinking about eating grounding and whole foods, and really, again, listening to your body, tuning into your body. We're in that fall season now. And I was telling Stephanie earlier, like my body is really craving all these like warming foods. And in the summer, I was eating a ton of salads. And now all of a sudden, like my body is like, I don't want to eat salad anymore. I want to eat more soups and vegetables, roasted veggies and root veggies, and just more of these grounding type foods. So really just trying to tune into yourself.
Absolutely. And, you know, one thing that I think is really important, because when we are feeling anxious and stressed, what do? We probably like open up the pantry and we start craving either it's sweets or salty, crunchy foods. But if you do some meal prep, so like scheduling that in, meal prep is actually self-care for me, because I know I feel better going into the week when I plan my meals, when I have food in the house, and when I've done a little bit of prep. So it could be just roasting a couple pans of vegetables, and then you have them all week for meals or lunches, whatever. But I think that really, really helps. And like Marnie said, those root vegetables, you know, so sweet potatoes and beets and parsnips and turnips.
I love parsnips.
Oh. And I bought some the other day. I haven't bought them in forever, and I'm going to make them. And there's lots of soups that you can make with them. Just you roast them with olive oil, salt and pepper, and whatever seasoning you like. Super simple and easy.
It's funny because roasted vegetables is like one thing I just don't get tired of. And you really can change the veggies with the season. And I love
Totally.
that about roasted vegetables. And I do love the fall season roasted vegetables in general. Like,
Yes, absolutely. And I think you just change up the spices that you put on there,
mm-hmm.
and it creates a totally different taste. So, and the next tip we have is so simple, but it's just human kindness. We're all human, and whether we, have different political affiliations or views on certain topics or how people are handling the pandemic, we're all more similar than we're different. And I think if we just stop and listen to each other, and have a little bit more compassion to what other people are going through, and just spread that human kindness, we'll all be better off at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And, just trying to do those random acts of kindness every day you feel good. The other person feels good. You hear these stories about, you're in the coffee line and the person in front of you bought your coffee. Like, I'm not a big coffee
Yes.
drinker, so I've personally never experienced that, but I love the idea of that.
Yes.
Or like Stephanie said, giving someone a compliment, like whatever it is, just thinking about how we are all really human and we all want the same things. We all want food and shelter and safety for our kids. And even though we do, we are quite divided politically, we are still all human and we all have these basic human needs and wants that are very much the same.
Absolutely. And I try to do this in front of my kids too. So if we're out and about somewhere, I'm always giving someone a compliment as to what they're wearing. If I like someone's jacket or sweater or leggings or earrings, I'll do it. And, just doing that in front of your kids too is, I think, just being a good role model and just showing people that you can really make someone's day with such a simple gesture.
Mm-hmm. And even thinking about gratitude, which is a buzzword that I feel like, we hear over and over again. Oh, you have to be grateful. You have to write down the things you're grateful for. But the truth of the matter is, it really frames your perspective in in the present, and B, in a way so that you can really appreciate what you have
Mhm.
in your life when you are grateful, and even appreciating other people in your life, like writing a letter to someone and letting them know how grateful you are for them. Like, how nice is that for that person to receive? Because a lot of times when we think about gratitude, we may think about, I may think about, oh, how much I appreciate Stephanie, but I'm not telling her that on a regular basis.
Right.
So she doesn't know that. So getting that off your chest and really letting someone know that is a feel good for you and the person that's receiving it.
Absolutely. And just think, one act of kindness and gratitude, the ripple effect that can have, it really makes someone's day. And then they're more likely to do an act of kindness and be grateful and expressive of their gratitude for someone else. And these are, like, think about it. Everything we're saying, these are all free, right? And any of us can do them at any time, anywhere. Yeah. I
Free
love the
and
gratitude.
simple
Free and
and
simple.
life-changing in so many ways.
Absolutely. Because it's changing your mindset and it's getting you stuck out of that anxious state and worry and, anger, whatever, all these emotions that people are feeling right now.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, our last tip we wanted to share is just talk to yourself kindly. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up for what you have been doing or, haven't done. These are very challenging times, hopefully the most challenging times that most of us will go through in our life, to some degree. And so just be kind to yourself, be kind to others.
Remember, like the saying, would you talk to somebody else the way you're talking to yourself? And oftentimes the answer is no, I would never say that out loud. So don't say that to yourself either. Like Stephanie said, be kind to yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. If you end up eating through your pantry,
Yeah.
move on.
Exactly.
Don't beat yourself up.
Right.
And just Be gentle, be kind.
Absolutely. So we hope that was helpful. It was actually I feel really good just having gone through all those tips. I feel much calmer than I have the last couple days. So
they're
we'd
great
love to.
reminders for everybody,
They
right?
are.
Like, even if we try and practice these things and we talk about these things and we tell other people to practice these things, we all need these reminders over and over again.
Absolutely. And we'd love to hear from you guys. So if one of these tips resonated with you and you started doing it, or another suggestion that you have, or we're always up for good, book and movie and show recommendations, drop us a note, reach out to us, share this episode with someone that you think may benefit from the information.
And let us know what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
And have a great rest of the week. Thank you so much for listening to the Art of Living Well podcast. We are so grateful that you joined us today.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend or anyone else you think may benefit from this information. We'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and tag the Art of Living Well podcast on social media.
If you want more inspiration in between episodes, you can find us on social media at theartofliving_well on Instagram and Facebook, where we will share snippets from our daily lives and our journey to living well.